was the funny bone. Oh god. Oh fuck yeah. Oh, that was a stupid idea. I am in incredible pain right now, but I've got a commentary to do. Just gonna have to power through it. So, as you may know, my last few videos have been pretty successful. They've involved a lot of wins, a lot of podiums, and me genuinely showing that I've actually got some competence on this game. But this previous week, I wouldn't say it's jumped off a cliff, but it's abseiling down quite gradually. It actually started out really well. Here you join me in Qatar. I started from P4 on the grid. The start was admittedly quite bad on my part. We dropped down to P6 and then I think P7, but we have the inside line for turn number 1. You can see there's a bit of carnage up ahead, and then every single person in front of me gets collected. Being on the inside line, I just scoot on through and we take the lead of the race. And I quite literally did not look back the entire race. I go on to win the race by 13 seconds. I didn't see a single person after turn 1. And the next race in Brazil, I managed to put it on pole position, and it was looking like I was on for another phenomenal week. Lights out and away we go. I get a little bit of wheel spin and have to drift off to the left hand side. It actually works in defending P2 into turn 1, but we make a little bit of contact. I decide to back out of it ever so slightly. We drop down to P2 through turn number 1, and given our awkward line through the first complex of corners, it would mean we'll be under pressure from P3 down the second straight, down towards turn number 4. Braking for turn number 4, and he goes for a very optimistic dive to the corner. I decide to just turn out of it, let him have the corner. I knew I had the pace on him. I decided to just, live. It worked out in the end. A few corners later, we are pushing him through the corner. We decide to go aggressive like he did with us and scare him offline. Round the outside at turn number 11, we're back over in the P2. And I'm not really too sure what happened to P1, but on the exit of the final corner, he has a moment which brings us right onto the back of him once again. So really, we've only lost about 0.2 of a second. On lap number 3, we take directly behind P1, and we've got DRS this time, and it's going to be an easy move. We've managed to fix our setup from the last video, so I actually have some pace on straight line this time, and it's an easy move back up into P1. The downside of this move obviously being he would get DRS on us down this straight, but given I saw he was on the soft tyres and I was on the medium, I decided to not fire him at all. I'm just going to stay with him until the pit stops, let him back up the inside into P1. Because we took the outside line, we did get a better run, and we did actually have a run on him down towards turn number 6, around the outside at my favourite corner of this track. But unfortunately, I just don't have the grip to go around his outside, and we have to settle for P2. Given I was in a fight for P1 and it was actually looking like it was going to be a really good battle, I decided to get my mandatory spin in early. As we go through turn number 11, go onto the grass, manage to catch the car, but at least that's out of the way now. I showed I was a quicker driver though, as I was able to catch onto the back of P1 once more at the end of lap number 8. He pulls into the pit for medium tyres, and we're going to try something never before seen on F1 23, the overcut. So to those that don't know, fresh tyres is the meta in this game. The pace you get on fresh tyres is ridiculous compared to used tyres. So basically, the overcut just isn't possible in this game. However, we're going to try it. We've come into the pit now, we're going to put the soft tyres on, and it's just a matter of time to find out, have we managed to do an overcut? Probably the first person on this game to manage an overcut successfully. I could have been the first person to do it, but I will never know, because I don't know if you caught it in the top left there, but the guy I was battling for P1 pulls into the pit. I'm guessing he got caught up with someone else. So technically we made the overcut work, but yeah, there's not really any evidence of that. And while this did give me an easy win, I mean, the guy behind me in P2 currently, he managed to catch onto the back of me, but he was never in a position to really actually challenge and make a move. But if I'm being honest, I wasn't really satisfied with this win. I was actually pretty annoyed because I lost a chance at some really good content that was cruelly taken away from me. However, what I'd go on to experience the next day, I really should have just taken that win. So race number 3 of the video, you join me in Qatar from P2 on the grid. We get a brilliant launch off the line on the soft tyres. We're going to be under pressure from the Williams car. He's going to sneak up our inside down towards turn number 1. We've not really got a lot to fight with. Overall, a pretty successful turn 1. So we were just about able to stay on the back of P1 thanks to some very opportunistic track extensions. And as we're going through the penultimate corner of the lap on lap number 2, he has a moment, catches the car very nicely, but we do go up into P1. However, it is at the worst possible time, because this car currently has a lot of downforce and absolutely no straight line speed. So to go down the main straight, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a very easy pass for the Williams car. I could have gone defensive, but I kind of knew I didn't have the pace in the straight line. Again, it was looking like a pretty good fight. I felt like I was a slower car, but I felt like with some luck, that's not lucky. I have bottled it all by myself. Of course I did. And that unfortunate but admittedly predictable spin puts us down to last place. And that spin would actually be the death of me, because as we're right behind this guy in P4, completely unprovoked, he just brake checks me, literally alongside the pit entry, completely breaks my wing, and that was the end of my Qatar race. On the plus side though, I did manage to stop myself from taking that guy out, mainly because given the nature of the track, I couldn't turn the corners and catch up to him. Anyway, well, that croquette guy clearly wasn't a fan of me. Hopefully you are. If you're a fan of this video, hit the like button and leave a comment, and if you're new around here, hit subscribe. At the time of recording this, I've actually been promoted and ranked to Gold 1, so I'm a pretty big deal now. But if it isn't good driving you enjoy watching, don't worry, I've got you covered on that one as well. If you subscribe right now, I can promise you a spin in almost every single race I compete in. So if you'd like to see someone choke some very promising results on pretty much every occasion possible, hit subscribe. So this time we move back to Brazil. We start P4 on the grid out of 4, so we had a brilliant qualifying session, predictably. This race took place straight after being taken out in Qatar, so I wasn't in the best of mindsets, but nevertheless we get a pretty good run through turn number 2. Are only outside of turn number 3 on P3. He doesn't leave us much room, but enough to work with as he's boxed in behind P2. He decides he doesn't want to be boxed in behind P2, so moves to the right and just bumps me onto the grass. Luckily though, we don't break our wing and we get a brilliant run out of turn number 4. We look to his outside, but we don't have the straight line speed for that one. We then switch to the left hand side for turn number 6. We're going to look around the outside of him. It looks like we're going to get the move done before he bumps me wide, and we go back down to P4. We try to get a little bit of a cutback, but we lose the car, obviously. So a lap later, we're coming through turn 4 once more. He runs wide at turn 5 and we're going to get a good run. It looks like it's going to be a repeat of the previous lap. It looks like he's going to stick to the racing line more this time, so we're not going to look to the outside of turn number 6. And really at this point I was absolutely terrified to try and move on him, because I thought he was just going to swat me at any given opportunity, which meant I had to either be aggressive or smart about it, and really if you're smart of these people you'll just get taken out, so really I just had to be aggressive. He misses the apex at turn number 10, so we try and get a cutback on him, but again we don't have the traction. He gets a better run out of the corner, and then we try to look to the outside, then the inside for the final corner. Probably a pretty bad decision, because it did ruin my run somewhat onto the main straight. I feel like if I got a better run I could have easily breezed past him. Nevertheless, down the straight we're going to use a little bit of ERS. He uses it as well to defend. We make more contact down the start-finish straight, and he pulls ahead of us once more. Then he lags, which is always terrifying. We get a better run once again out of another corner. We're going to be on the outside of turn number 3 for a second time. He doesn't leave us much room, but admittedly he didn't have to. I wasn't really alongside him. Nevertheless, it's still frustrating. And that was kind of the story with trying to pass this guy. I just had enough pace to somewhat pull alongside him, as you can see again there, but I didn't have enough pace to properly pull alongside him to get myself some room. Not that I was at all convinced that if I did deserve room, he would give it to me. I knew my best bet was to start-finish straight and to just use up all my ERS to try and pass him, and then hopefully I could drive away. So through the middle sector, I was just staying behind him, trying to get him offline until he loses it on the exit of turn 10, and because I was so close to him, I just get collected. Luckily though, the auto recovery actually helped me this time, and somehow puts me ahead of him. And I want to say thank you to the game for once, because for the first time ever, your auto recovery doesn't actually fuck me over massively. In the end though, it came to nothing, because the damage that was done on the opening laps was enough to secure my P3 in the race. Ignore the 5-second penalty, I don't really know how that got there. Overall, not a bad set of races. There were some good results there, obviously got 2 wins, but really just incredibly frustrating. There was also obviously some races between these ones, but they were so humiliating for me that I can't bring myself to put them in a video. They were just... my credibility would go down far too much. Next video I'll hopefully find my form again, but let's face it, that's extremely unlikely.